Heading into the 2018 midterms, the Democratic Party is looking to clear a large field of candidates and streamline their message. An article in the New York Times reads, in part, in districts from Southern California to Little Rock, Arkansas, and upstate New York, the party has begun interceding to help the Democrats it sees as best equipped to battle the Republicans in the fall. One of the states Democrats think they can flip is Wisconsin. Here to talk about if they can, Milwaukee radio host Steve Scafidi. Steve, nice to see you. As always, two ways to read this. One, that Democrats aren't as confident as they say they are, and therefore they're worried about this big primary field and getting two liberal candidates. The other way is saying they are willing to take it on the chin from some of the more liberal members of their own party because they're so certain of victory. How do you see it?
Well, there's no question Democrats are confident. They see this big blue wave coming in Wisconsin. They're emboldened by what happened in the Supreme Court race, where a very liberal candidate beat a very conservative candidate. The Paul Ryan news has impacted the state now, where they feel like they won a victory, just the fact that he decided not to run for re-election. They're very excited. They're ramping up their base. It's up to Republicans to be equally excited, and that means getting people to turn out to vote.
Are Republicans equally excited and equally as motivated in Wisconsin?
You know, I don't think they're that excited yet, but they need to be. If they want to continue the momentum that we've seen under Governor Scott Walker here, and I talk to a lot of Republicans every day on my show, it's going to involve getting as ramped up about this election as they did in 2016. We're not even close to that level of energy yet, but until they do that, everything's at play. And for us, those of us in Wisconsin,
you're not really painting a great picture for Republicans. You're saying Democrats are, to borrow a Democratic phrase, fired up and ready to go, and Republicans are going, well, we won with Donald Trump. We don't, we're sort of happy where we're at.
I have no doubt that Republicans are going to step it up. They just need to start doing it as soon as possible. We saw what happened in the Supreme Court race here. I was surprised by those results. I'm not encouraged by the fact that Paul Ryan left, but that district is still very conservative. I think it's a good bet that that'll stay in Republican hands.
The DNC seems to be stuck almost in two worlds. They're relitigating 2016, quite literally, as this week they sued the Trump campaign, among others, WikiLeaks. On the other hand, they're trying to move forward to 2018, as this New York Times article points out. Tom Perez of the DNC today. Take a listen.
We've been winning elections because we've been talking about the issues. We have organizers on the ground in Arizona for Tuesday's election. We had organizers on the ground in the election in Wisconsin that occurred a couple weeks ago. And one of the reasons we're winning is because people believe that we should stand up for our democracy.
He's got at least some evidence to back up that they have been winning elections. They've got momentum and excitement. How do Republicans counter that? How does the Republicans in Wisconsin counter that?
Well, they have to have great candidates. They do have a lot of good candidates in Wisconsin. Obviously, Governor Walker, that's part of that story. And folks like Kevin Nicholson running for U.S. Senate against Tammy Baldwin, State Senator Leah Vukmir. We've got good candidates. It's about fundraising, getting your ads on TV, and being, again, as excited as you were in 2016.
It's about fundraising, but it's actually about exciting the grassroots. That has to happen pretty much organically. Is there an election where you can excite the grassroots without doing it organically?
It takes a lot of effort, and whether they can figure this out, we're going to find out. But in this midterm elections, I would tell all Republicans who are out there, those who are not voting or haven't been voting, and those that should vote, it's never been as important. If you want to continue the efforts of Republican governors and our president and Congress and keep it in the Republican hands, this is the time to do it. Otherwise, everything gets thrown out.
Well, forgive me for saying this, but I don't hear overwhelming confidence in your voice that it's going to actually happen with that admonition. But
I'm very confident. I'm very confident.
Okay.
They just have to get out and do it.
Okay. All right. There we go. We'll have you back to see if the confidence was well placed. Good to see you, sir, as always.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks.